Welcome back to Youth Code Jam's online Bits and Bytes lessons. My name is Jen. I'm one of the assistant instructors with Youth Code Jam that'll be working through this lesson with you today. Our lesson today is called Build a Sandcastle. We'll be using Scratch Junior on a tablet device is preferable. Tablet device is preferable for this one. Scratch Junior is a mobile application, so it can be downloaded to Apple or Microsoft or Android products. Tablets are the key one that they work on. I think you can also download them to mobile phones, but they are a little bit more complicated to, not complicated, difficult to use for our younger students because there is much less screen space for them to work with. So that's why we recommend a tablet. You could also try downloading it to the Chromebook, but it may not work quite as well. Again, it's not been optimized to work in that platform. So today's activity, since we are using Scratch Junior, is best for kindergarten through second grade students. Older students in elementary school are welcome to try it out just to see what they can do. Past maybe fourth grade, this might be too easy or not quite engaging enough for higher grade levels, but they're welcome to try it out. Reminders, our new lessons are uploaded every Monday and Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. and then we will hold some hangout sessions at 4 and on Tuesdays and Thursdays. These sessions, students can ask questions about something they didn't understand. We can work through an adventure mode. Most of our activities have like try it yourself sections to try and push the creativity of our students and to see what they really learned from it. We can walk through some of those. Students are welcome to show us other projects they've been working on. This is really just to try and get a social component if students are missing that or have questions to help get some clarification. I have in the past spoken about some changes to our schedules. Those will come probably closer to the month. And that's not really so much of our changes as there's going to be a few special things that pop up, but just stay tuned for that one. Some quick housekeeping things that I wanted to announce on our website, on our Virtual Learning Hub page, so you just go to Jam at Home and click Virtual Learning. We have an ongoing list of everything that's going on. So we had our first virtual code jam that was posted here, our Bits and Bytes lessons. The recess activities are all for our brain breaks that we post. We post one every morning at 9 a.m., 9:30, somewhere in there. And then we have downloadable sheets that get posted every Monday. And they have different topics. They are bilingual, so there's one in English and one in Spanish. For most of them, it looks like some are a little behind, but it looks like that should be remedied going forward. And then there's home digital resources. We are starting another edition or iteration of our Caring for Community. This one is going to be feeding our community. And so it's going to focus on different ways to help with food insecurity since COVID-19 has affected all of our lives. A lot of people are, as you've probably seen on the news, kind of going without food or having to rely on food banks. So we're going to have another free 2-week project for these kids to do, and they will get to interview individuals and some organizations in the community and see what creative and innovative ways they're using to help get food out to people who need it. We're also going to team up with Students Rebuild, who are going to donate $6 to support programs for every quote-unquote recipe the students come up with. So not only will this be a good learning opportunity and a fun learning opportunity for students, but there will be a noticeable contribution to our local community. This particular one is for grades 3 through 6. We'll have in a couple weeks, maybe in June, there will be a version for smaller kids, so kinder through second. This one's for the older kids right now. It was really fun last time. I was part of the Caring for Community one. The kids really enjoyed it. They got to ask questions. They basically ran the show. And then they created really cool thank yous for everyone. So I'm excited to see what they create this time. If you're interested in doing this, again, it's free. You can just go to bit.ly/feedingoursa community and you can get all the information and registration stuff done there. So I strongly recommend that for anyone who's looking for something fun to do. So it's 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, and you meet for about an hour from 10:30 to 11:30 in the morning. So it's not too late in the day. It's not too long. It's good length of time for these kids. And again, they get to kind of run the show when it comes to the interviews, and they ask some really great questions. So I definitely recommend checking that out. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to our lesson. I'm just going to ask for a second of patience as I switch screens because I need to switch this to my iPad. Share screen. I want to do iPhone, iPad via AirPlay. All right, so we're sharing now. Awesome. So what you're going to do once you've installed, oh, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Let me stop this share and switch back to my screen for a second. So on our, if you're new, on our Bits and Bytes Online page, we will have the most recent lesson at the top. So this was our lesson from Wednesday, May 6th. I'm recording this on the 7th. So this was the most recent lesson at the time of this recording. If you scroll down, any downloads that you'll need will be listed here. Probably won't list Scratch Junior here because it doesn't make sense to link to it on the website, but I will make a note that that needs to be downloaded. But our activity sheets are here, and you can go ahead and click on that and it will open it in a new page. So you can either download it or work from the page. I will be switching back and forth between our activity sheet for building a sandcastle and the app on my iPad. Okay, so now I can switch back over. Okay, so now we're good. So on our tablet, you'll see I have our activity sheet pulled up, build a sandcastle. I'll go back and forth between here. It has been a while since I've done this activity, so I may take a second while I read through the instructions to make sure we're doing the right thing. Sorry for the lag, it goes much faster on my device. So I have that pulled up. I'm going to open up the Scratch application. Again, this is free. There's no way to buy anything in here. It's pretty safe, but don't download it without an adult's permission. I'm going to go to Home. So you'll see I have project 1 that was there from last week when we did changing seasons. So that's actually a really good one to get started with because it goes over some of the basics of Scratch Junior. But this one isn't too bad either. So I'm going to hit this plus icon on my iPad to add a new project. And you'll see it defaults and we have the cat there. I believe we're going to go ahead. We are. So we're going to delete the cat sprite by moving the cursor over the sprite box and pressing down until a red X appears. Then we're going to click on that X and delete it. So the cat we're going to delete is this one over here, this icon up in the left corner that says cat and has the paintbrush. But to delete it, we're actually going to hover over the sprite in the middle of our screen. So the sprite is the cat image or the cat character. So on my iPad, I'm holding down until it starts shaking with that red X. And now I hit the red X and it's gone. So now we're starting with a blank workspace. And instead of using a sprite that's already made, we're going to make our own robot. And I'll walk you through this when we switch over to that. But I'm just going to show you that this is our step 5 is what the end goal is for the robot to look like. So I'm going to walk us through steps 2 through 5, and I'm not going to switch back over to the activity sheet just to make it a little easier. So back in Scratch Junior, I'm going to click on the plus button underneath the words Scratch Junior. That's how we add a sprite. And then once we're in this workspace, instead of choosing one of these characters, I'm going to click on the paintbrush. And this is where we're going to make our character. So at here where it says the top, where we see this word character at the very top of the screen, I'm going to click in there and call it robot. All right. So now that I've named it, this is our drawing workspace. We're going to use our shape icon. So the very first one we're going to start with is the square. So I'm going to tap on the square with my finger, and then I'm going to draw anywhere in this space with all the grid lines. I'm going to draw a square. So that head came out, whoops, kind of big. So if you make a mistake like that, you can come up here to the top of your screen and you can hit the undo button. So I'm going to hit that twice. My question is, how do I, there we go. So if we want to move something, you'll come to the right side of your screen and click this arrow, and this selection arrow will let us move the square, won't let us shrink it. So that's the size of that. That's okay. That's a good size for our head. Okay, so now that I have drawn the head, I'm going to click on the square again and draw the body. And now I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to click on the circle. So the square was right here on the left. I'm clicking on the circle. If you scroll down here or look down on this side, you'll see that the lines are different thicknesses. I'm going to change it to this 4th thickness for the wheel. And I'm going to draw a wheel like that. I'm going to move these over using my arrow. I'm moving these about. And then I'm going to draw a square, a tiny, tiny circle on the inside. That's kind of centered. That's perfect. So remember, when I want to move something, I'm clicking this arrow over here. Oops. There we go. I'm going to zoom in because that one was being kind of tricky to work with. There we go. So if you hold that down, you'll be able to move it if it's not completely centered. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. Now I lied. I am going to switch back over to see what the face looks like. Okay, so circle. Okay, so for the face, I'm going to switch our thickness back to the 2nd level here. And I'm going to draw the eyes. That was kind of scary, eyes. Okay, so my eyes aren't perfect. They're kind of wonky. I don't know. I think that's okay, right? It gives it a little character. Maybe we'll just, so if we want to delete something, we can, let's zoom back in. I'm going to hold down. So if I hold down, I should be able to drag it off somewhere or erase it. Where's our eraser? No. Well, I use the scissors, which is cut, which isn't quite the same thing as deleting, but it's going to have to work. Oh. Okay. So we're going to draw an eye. Then I'm going to draw another eye. Click on my arrow to move that up. And center it. Okay. Now for the mouth, I'm going to switch back to the square and just draw kind of a little rectangle right there. Okay. So once you've done all that, you'll have your square, your robot. And now we're going to change the color. So down here, you'll see there's a paint bucket over here. And there's paints down here. So to change the colors, if you want to do just the outline, click on one of your shapes. I'm clicking on the body, and I'm going to change it to, I like this aqua color. Can I do it? Oh no, if I wanted to change this, I should have done this first. So we're going to do the paint bucket. And since I had the paint bucket highlighted, it turned in here and turned to the aqua color. So I'm going to do that on the face. Click on the face, and you see it turned that one an aqua color too. And now for my wheel, I'm actually going to change my color to this greenish one here. You see it's all splattered. And that's what I'm going to change my wheel to. And then I'm going to come back and change it to for my face, I like this bright blue. So I'm going to do my eyes the bright blue and my mouth the bright blue. And so I'm happy with those colors. You guys can play around for a bit. Go ahead and pause this video if you want to. And you can use the other shapes in here. There was a triangle, so you could have drawn a triangle. So if you want to change the color of the lines, you need to choose the color first. But you can do the color. Is this a line? Yeah, this is free drawing. So you can just take your finger and draw squiggles all over the place or not. I'm going to hit undo there. So there's other things you can do. You can play with the thickness of the line. That's all you would really need to do for this one. Once you're happy with it, go ahead and click this check mark at the top right of your screen. That means this is good. This is the one you want to use. And it's going to put our robot in the middle of our scene workspace. And now we're actually going to get to some code. So I'm going to go back into our activity sheet, and we're on step 6. So on step 6, we're going to add a background to our scene. So back in Scratch, I'm going to come to the top of my workspace, and you'll see this little icon that looks like a photograph. We're going to click on that icon, and you'll see it brings up all these different backgrounds we can use. We want one, we want one of the beach. So you see there's a couple here. You could do a nighttime scene, or you could do a midday, I'm going to call that sunset. I'm going to do a beach day scene because we want to be there in the day. And we're going to hit the check mark when we're ready for it. Okay, so I have my scene, I have my robot. Okay, so with the robot sprite selected, we're going to get a yellow start button with the green flag on it, and then get a blue button to attach it to that will make it go left for 5 spaces. So back in Scratch, we're going to grab the yellow block with the green flag on it, and then go to our blue blocks, which are kind of doing the directions. And we're going to get the one that points left. And inside that, you'll see it has a 1. Just tap inside that block. It should get the 1 highlighted. Change it to 5. Oops. Okay. And just click in the white space when you're done. All right, so that's step 7. We're going to move on to step 8. Okay, so now we're going to, after having it move left, we're going to have it move right and then stop, but it's only going to move right 3 spaces. Okay, so back in the app, I'm going to get the right arrow, change the 1 to a 3, and then tell it to stop by just getting a blank red block from it. All right, so what is how many steps do we have? All right, 11. So now we're going to click on the blue plus symbol and create a castle sprite. Scroll through the page until you find the castle. So we're going to add our castle. Like we said in the beginning, this is building a sandcastle. So since you guys had drawn your own, you could draw your own sandcastle if you wanted, or you can scroll through the items until we find the castle. So there's a couple choices here. I'm going to go with the taller one and hit the blue check mark when I have it. Okay. Ooh, that's a giant sandcastle. Okay. So in step 10, we're going to add this block of code is going to go to the castle. So we'll make sure that the castle is the one that's active. So we're going to have the start button that says when our robot bumps the castle is going to jump up 3 times and then it's going to stop. Okay. So back in our space, so I need to move some things around. My castle should be to the left here, and my robot should be over on the right side. So you can see it's the castle is the one that's active because the castle is the one that shows up down here. And there's no code. So if I clicked on the robot, not sure how to get back to the robot. But if you can click on the robot and get it to show up down here, that code would be, I guess you could come up. Yep, that's how we switch it. So on the right side of your screen, whichever one is highlighted, in the kind of yellow square, and longer is the one that's active. So we want the castle active. So it should look like this. The castle should be here. So we're going to add that touch block, which looks like the start on bump. So it has one filled in person and one shadow person. So start on bump. And then we're going to go to our motion drawer, which is the blue arrow drawer, and get this one that kind of looks like a U-turn, but it's really going to be a jump. Change it from 2 to 3, I believe, and then get the red arrow. So now we can go ahead and click the green flag at the top of our screen right here. Okay, so let's go to our activity sheet for a minute. So what was all this about? So we learned how to draw a shape today, and you added code to 2 items instead of 1. But what was the purpose of all of this? So this activity is based off of a book called How to Code a Sandcastle by Joshua Funk. It's actually a really fun book. I've read it. It goes more into depth for the concepts that were in this one, but we're going to talk about just a little bit right now. Let's see if there's no notes at the bottom of the page here. So what we did here was we learned how to do a process, and the book goes through this more in a step-by-step fashion than what we did today. But first, so in the book, the character has to build a sandcastle, and the robot is to do it. And there's a lot of repetition in building a sandcastle. You have to fill the bucket with sand. The sand has to be wet. You need some water to get it all to stick together. So the book is going through kind of a troubleshooting or a debugging process of how to actually build a sandcastle from the perspective of using code. But it does it in a way that's fun and relates back to kids at their level. So if you can get a hold of that book from the library or from any digital library that's offering books right now, I even think Amazon Kindle is offering some kind of free book somewhere. It's not under their flagship name, but it's under another one. It's actually a really good book to go through. Had I had it on site, we might have read it to you guys or at least shown it to you, but I don't have it with me. In an in-person activity, we would have read the book. But so it goes through that process. So we kind of replicated that a little bit, where we had our robot kind of moving around to represent the getting of the materials and stacking it, and then we had our castle jump up and down. So this was our activity for today. It's pretty short. That's okay because it's for the little ones. If you guys have any questions or want to show off what you did or try some of these adventure modes at the bottom and you want to talk to us about it, definitely sign up for our meetings. Those are so these are the adventure modes at the bottom. So you can try and add a costume, you can have your robot talk, you can add other sprites to the scene. So yeah, this lesson was inspired by the Girls Who Code book. So it's a very good book, it's very fun. So I'm going to switch back to my computer for a minute and share my desktop screen. So yeah, back on this page, our Bits and Bytes page, you can register for our Hangout sessions by just clicking this green button. Especially with these little ones, I would like some feedback because I can't see what you guys are doing when you're working on them, so I don't know where the problems might be. So we would definitely love to see you guys and see what you made and hear about your experience with our online lessons. So go ahead and register for these. They're free. We send you a link, a secure link to get into the Zoom session. And it's only about a 40-minute session, so not long at all. And if you ask your question and you're done, you're free to leave. You don't have to stay on the whole time. But I'll see you guys at I won't see you. The next lesson will be up on Wednesday. I believe that one it might be Python based again. I'll need to check. I can't remember what the schedule is anymore. But I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Have a great day.